To beat for Victoria in this event, and that's the way it appears in the early stages. Victoria by about a canvas, maybe a third of a length over Victoria, then back to New South Wales, Western Australia and South Australia. The Victorian crew: Addie Dunkley-Smith, Jess Morrison, Madeline Thomas, Kim Brennan, Sophie Sutherland, Katrina Bateman, Lucy Steffen, Charlotte Sutherland, Sarah Banting, Australian Women's 8 coxswain from last year's World Championship, and coach Simon Gadsden.
And Victoria, of course, the favourites in this event. They've been unbeaten for so long. Every year the Queenslanders, I talk to Sally Keogh and she says, we're going to get closer, we're going to get closer. And it looks like they really are giving it to them here. The Victorians just sitting slightly up on the Queenslanders. A very strong Queensland outfit this year. And it looks like New South Wales currently in third position. So a good fight there from the Welsh women. They haven't had much time in this crew, but the Victorians, they're sitting back, they're looking confident, about half a length up on the Queenslanders as we come through the 500 metre mark. 129.84 the Victorians' time, 1.06 back to Queensland and a further 1.25 back to New South Wales.
Western Australia 3.27 seconds back, and at the rear is the crew from South Australia. But the Victorian crew, Sarah Banting, an excellent cox, out in the lead over the Queenslanders in second place. Charlotte Travis, Maddie Coonan, Sally Keogh, Tessa Cardi, Jess Hall, Caitlin Cronin, Fiona Albert, Maddie Edmonds, Danny Sarah, the coxswain, coaches Tom Westgar, Ben Southwell and Kate Borger. And then back in third place, this excellent New South Wales crew, stroked by Jen Horton, coached by Alfie Young, and grandstand Dan Noonan.
Could be a bit of rivalry run both the French
and the Victorian women, they're sitting about 4 seats up on the Queensland bow at this stage. So this is definitely one of the closest races that I've seen in my time over the last 15 years or so against the Victorians. The New South Welsh women used to be so dominant back in the early 2000s in this event, but it really has been the Victorians event for over a decade now. But they're holding just a slight lead over the Queenslanders. They're looking at giving it to them all the way down the course here as we come through the 1,000 metre mark. And a really good performance there from the New South Wales women, hanging in there with Queensland. It's 3 crews edging out over the rest of the field. It looks like these are probably going to be the medal places, but which order we'll see in the second half of the race.
Medals look like the Eastern Seaboard at the moment. Victoria through the 1,000, 3:02.65. 1.45 or half a length in this close of boat back to Queensland. A further 2.38, 3/4 of length that is to New South Wales. Then follows South Australia and Western Australia at the rear of the field. But a terrific performance by these 3 leading crews, with the Victorians pushing out now in that all-important third 500. It's like a game of AFL. The third quarter is where the races are won and lost, and Victoria going for a push now.
And the Victorians so strong in the women's 8, in both the youth and the senior 8s. They have so much depth coming through, and they've really been dominant in terms of Australian women's sweep rowing for many years now. But the challenge is coming from Queensland. We have some very strong scullers in that boat. Sally Keogh, Jessica Hall, Maddie Edmonds, all tipped to be on the Olympic team later in the year, selected to race at the World Cups coming up in May and June. So a lot of strength in that Queensland crew.
And Fiona Albert, who's been reserved for the Australian women's sculling group for the last 2 years, is in the 7th seat of the Queensland crew, and she's looking to be selected in the Australian women's 8 to try and qualify the boat in sweep rowing, having been a terrific reserve for the Australian crew for the last couple of years. Still has 4 seats, Sarah. The 4 seats you said about in the first 500. The Victorians maybe 5 seats now in front of Queensland as we head toward the 1,500 metre mark, and we go through it now. Victoria 4:35.72, just 1.35 back to Queensland, 6.19 back to New South Wales, and further back to South Australia and Western Australia. New South Wales will get the bronze. Victoria and Queensland. Victoria under some pressure, but it is the crew from Victoria leading Queensland, then New South Wales, South Australia and Western Australia with 250 metres to go.
Presentation of medals and the Queen's Cup for the Interstate Women's 8.
There's
The medals and cup will be presented Mrs. Hurley, accompanied by Rowing Australia President Rob Scott. Medalist, New South Wales. Elizabeth Halsall. Serena Cox.
Yay! Serena. Here comes the rain.
Georgina Gotch. Fiona Ewing.
And a big shout for Rowena, right?
Rowena Meredith. Leah Saunders. Jessie Allen.
Jessie, Rowena,
and their cox,
Serena,
Kendall Brody,
and Georgia.
The crew is coached by
five of the
Young
eight.
and Dan Newman. Second and silver medalists, Queensland.